The text from my mother read, "Just used your card for the power bill, honey. We'll pay you back Monday. Love you." But 12 hours later, my account was empty. $4,600 gone. That's when I knew this wasn't a mistake. This wasn't about bills. It was about betrayal. A month before everything crumbled, I flew into Flagstaff for my mom's birthday. We hadn't been close in years, but she asked me to lunch, just the two of us, like old times. She picked an overpriced fusion bistro downtown. I winced at the menu but said nothing. Once a year I could manage. She ordered cocktails, appetizers, dessert, the whole show. When the check came, she smiled sweetly. "Oh no. I think I left my wallet in the car. Can you cover this?" Of course I could. I handed her my card. She took it to the counter and slipped it into her purse. I noticed, but I said nothing. Later that night I texted her. "Hey, my card. I think you still have it?" She replied, "Oops, must have been a mistake. I'll give it back when I see you next." I believed her, because it was easier than assuming something darker. Weeks passed. I never saw the card again. I didn't push. I had Apple Pay anyway. I kept telling myself she just forgot. Until that Saturday. I got the message at 9:13 a.m. Then at 10 p.m., I opened my banking app. Balance, $12.33. I sat up straight, refreshed the screen. 3 times. No glitch. 3 massive withdrawals, $1,800, $1,200, $1,600, all listed as AC transfers. All within hours of each other. I called, no answer. Texted, nothing, my father Calvin, straight to voicemail. At 2 a.m. I messaged my friend Marcus. He's a lawyer. I sent screenshots. Told him the card was with her and I never gave permission. He didn't ask questions, just said, "Forward me the full transaction log and their emails. Now." The next morning I drove to their house. No warning, I still had a key. Their car was in the driveway. I sat on the living room couch and waited. At 9 o'clock a.m. her phone buzzed. A Gmail notification. She opened it and screamed. A sound I will never forget, animalistic, guttural. Loud enough that neighbors stepped onto their porches. Calvin rushed in from the kitchen, confused. She handed him the phone. He read it and chuckled. "Charity," he muttered. That's when I knew they didn't steal out of desperation. They did it because they thought they could. What she read was a formal demand letter from Marcus. 72 hours to return the money or face civil court. She didn't scream out of guilt. She screamed because she got caught. Right after that scream, my father turned to me and said the first words since I arrived. "Come on, Harper, don't make this dramatic." I say nothing. Not when Mom begins pacing, holding her phone like it's radioactive. Not when Calvin gives me that smug, "This is all a misunderstanding" look. I just stare. Then she starts in loud, emotional, rehearsed. "Harper, things have been so hard lately. The mortgage is killing us. We were going to pay you back. You don't understand what it's like to be responsible for a family." A speech, not an apology. She doesn't think she stole from me. She thinks she's owed. When I don't respond, she snaps. The guilt trip turns nuclear. "So this is how you repay us? After everything we've done for you? You got a lawyer involved, your own mother, Harper. You're embarrassing us in front of the entire neighborhood." I let her finish. Then I ask one question. "Where's my card?" She stammers, says it might be in a drawer. Maybe she lost it. I walk into the kitchen, open the drawer we always used for junk. There it is, under a bed bath and beyond flyer. Untouched. I hold it up. She rushes in, already backpedaling. "I meant to give it back." "I really did." I walk past her and out the door. By the time I get home, I have 9 missed calls from her, 5 from Calvin and 2 from unknown numbers. Then the text. "Don't ruin this family over a misunderstanding. Talk to us before doing something stupid. A lawyer won't fix this." I forward everything to Marcus. He doesn't flinch. That night he files the civil claim. By Tuesday morning they're served, right on their front porch. The same porch where the neighbors heard the scream. 2 hours later, my mom calls from a new number. I answer without thinking. She's crying. "Harper, why are you doing this? We said we'd pay it back." Now everyone thinks we're criminals. Then she drops a line that makes my spine go cold. "You already got what you wanted. What more do you want from us?" What I wanted? She sounds like I mugged her, like she's the victim here. I hang up, block the number. By evening, Calvin calls, calm, businesslike. "This doesn't need to go to court, we can fix it. But if you drag the family name through court, Harper, you'll regret it." There it was, the real fear, not the lawsuit. Public shame, I don't respond. He shows up that night on my doorstep, knocking, calling my name. Be smart, Harper, you won't win. It's your word against ours. I record everything, send it to Marcus. His reply, that was a threat, this just got bigger. The next day, HR pulls me into a side room at work. Someone left a voicemail accusing me of stealing company funds. It's absurd, I don't even handle money. But the damage is done. An internal report is opened. Only 2 people know where I work. Only one stood on my porch whispering threats. I call my uncle, Roy. He's Mom's older brother. Always kept his distance from family drama. He sighs when I explain what happened. They're telling everyone you offered to help with a bill and then tried to sue them for clout, that you twisted everything to make them look bad. He tells me to finish what I started, because if I back down now, they'll just rewrite the story. They already are. That Friday, Marcus forwards me a response from their lawyer. It's a joke full of vague half-truths about miscommunication and verbal consent. No mention of the missing card, no acknowledgement of the bank logs. Marcus asks again, if they offer to settle, will you take it? This time, I don't hesitate. No, I want a judge to hear every word. We get a court date. 1 week away, I don't tell anyone. I just go about my days like nothing's happening. But inside, I am burning. I remember every detail of that lunch, every smug look Calvin gave me, every lie, every threat. Then 4 days before court, I get a text from Mom. A new number, again, just one line. Can we talk, just coffee, no tricks, please? I say yes, I need to look her in the face, to see what she's still hiding. We meet at a quiet cafe just outside Flagstaff, neutral ground. I arrive early and sit by the window, facing the door. She walks in 10 minutes late, looking like she's aged 10 years in a week. No makeup, hair unwashed, eyes hollow, she doesn't order anything. Just pulls a folded letter from her purse and slides it across the table. It's typed, signed, formal, a full admission of guilt. She states that she took the money without permission and regrets it deeply. Then comes the check. $4,600, the exact amount they took. I don't touch either, I look her in the eyes. Why now? She exhales slowly. Because if this goes to court, your father will lose everything. His job, his retirement. You'll destroy him. There it is again. Not we did something wrong. Not we're sorry, just don't ruin us. I push the check and let her back across the table. The money's not the point anymore. She doesn't argue, but her eyes go cold. Then she reaches back into her bag and pulls out a folder, a manila folder. She lays it on the table, opens it, and slides it toward me. Inside. Screenshots, my private emails, messages I sent to friends, even a personal journal entry I stored in my cloud drive. Stuff she should never have had access to. I stare at them, the blood draining from my face. Where did you get these? I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. She doesn't answer, just shrugs, smiles. That's when I realize this didn't start with the money. They'd been watching me. That night, I send everything to Marcus. He calls me immediately. Harper, this isn't just theft anymore, it's cybercrime, identity fraud, they've been inside your accounts, possibly for months. He tells me to file a second police report. I do. First thing the next morning. That changes everything. The case expands. Now it's not just about debit card fraud, it's about unauthorized access to private data. That afternoon, Marcus emails their lawyer again. 3 hours later, I get an email from Calvin. You've made your point, you win, but don't expect to be our daughter after this. No greeting, no goodbye, just a threat wrapped in defeat. By Monday, a new offer hits my inbox. Not just $4,600. They're offering $6,600 total, an extra $2,000 for damages, plus a written agreement that they will never contact me again. I sign it. The money hits my account 2 days later. Just like that, it's over. Or so I think. 3 weeks pass, no calls, no texts, then another voicemail, it's her again. This time her voice sounds weak, strained. She says she's sick. She's had tests. They found a mass, more scans needed. Then she says something that makes me freeze. We need your help for treatment costs. No apology, no remorse, just help us. I don't respond. I send it to Marcus. He says exactly what I need to hear. There's no legal obligation. This is just another tactic, control through guilt. And he's right. But it still makes me feel like garbage. Not because I feel bad for them, but because they're betting I will. 3 days later, my Uncle Roy shows up, unannounced. He looks tired. Worn, like this mess has aged him too, we sit in my kitchen. He tells me the cancer is real. Stage 2, liver, treatable but expensive. Then he says, they thought this would bring you back. Not planned, just hoped. That sickness would wipe the slate clean. Then he says something else. They're telling people you're just not ready to forgive, that you're still angry over a misunderstanding. Not theft, not sabotage, a misunderstanding. 2 days later, they follow through. I'm removed from the family calendar. My name vanishes from our old group texts. Cousins stop responding. I'm scrubbed clean. Then silence. Not a dramatic goodbye, just gone. At first, I think the silence will crush me. That some primal part of me will ache for my mother's voice. That I'll long for Calvin's smug disapproval, for the dysfunction I once called home. But the ache never comes. What comes instead is peace. No more late-night phone calls. No more guilt-riddled texts. No more playing the good daughter in a rigged performance. I sleep. Really sleep for the first time in years. 8 hours straight, no night terrors. I stop checking my phone every 5 minutes. I start making plans without explaining them to anyone. I reclaim my life. I move, out of Flagstaff, new city, new job, new number, no forwarding address. I get a new bank account at a different institution. Double authentication. No shared Apple ID. No saved passwords on any shared devices. I even change my emergency contact at the hospital, just in case. They don't know where I live now. And they never will. Uncle Roy still checks in sometimes. Never pushes, never asks questions, just a text every few weeks. You okay? I answer every time. Yeah, better than okay. He tells me Calvin's back consulting part-time, trying to keep them afloat. That my mom's treatments are ongoing. That they're not doing well, but they still haven't told anyone the truth. They say I overreacted, that I got emotional, that I destroyed the family over a misunderstanding. They don't mention the hacking, the stolen money, the threats, the smear campaign, just Harper distanced herself. Like I went on a silent retreat and forgot to return. Month 5, a box shows up. No return address. Postmarked from Arizona. Inside, childhood photos, a crayon drawing I made in 3rd grade, a dusty science fair ribbon, and a single note, written in Calvin's handwriting. You made your choice. Goodbye. No signature, no date. Just finality. I sit on my floor, the box open beside me. I stare at that note for hours, waiting to feel something. Guilt, regret, grief, but all I feel is relief, because he was right, I did make a choice. And for once in my life, it was mine. The relief doesn't fade. It deepens, grows roots. I go entire weeks without thinking about them. The nightmares stop completely. The voice in my head that used to whisper, "You're being too harsh. They're still your parents," goes silent. Because I finally accept the truth. They were never the parents I needed. They were the people I survived. A few months later, I run into someone from the past, Melissa. She used to live across the street from us. Babysat me once when I was 10. We bump into each other at a bookstore 2 towns over. She does a double take. Harper, oh my God, how are your parents? I pause, smile. I wouldn't know. Her face falls. Oh, sorry, I heard your mom was really sick. I nod politely. I hope she gets better. Then I walk away. A week later, Roy texts me again, just 3 words. They're selling everything. He doesn't need to elaborate. I already know what that means. Medical bills, no retirement, no savings. They burned every bridge and now they're drowning. And still no apology, not one word. Then, month 7, another envelope. This time, no return address. But inside is something I never expected. A legal document. They removed me from their wills. Every asset, every account. My name wiped clean. No contact, no emotion, just ink and silence. At the bottom, a note in my mom's handwriting. We tried, you refused, we have no daughter. For a moment, I stare at the words. And then I laugh, not out of spite, not from bitterness, just pure, exhausted clarity. They never had me to begin with. They had control, they had obedience. They had my silence, but they never had me. Month 9, I sit on my balcony in my new city, sipping coffee. My phone buzzes. It's Roy, again, just checking in. He tells me Calvin had to take out a loan, that mom's treatment is failing, that they've told everyone they've moved on. But he also says something else. They still blame you, but they don't talk about the lawsuit. Not ever. Of course not. They talk about me like I disappeared, like I turned cruel overnight, because the truth is too ugly to admit out loud. Month 10. The house I grew up in sold, below market value. No bidding war, no tears, no nostalgia. Roy sends me a photo of the for sale sign coming down. A new couple stands in the front yard, smiling, young, hopeful. I stare at that photo like I'm looking into another timeline. A life that might have been mine, if they hadn't broken it, if they hadn't gambled me for power. 2 weeks later, a letter arrives at my new apartment. No name, no return address. Typed, inside, a plea. We know we made mistakes. Your mother doesn't have much time. She wants to see you. Just once, please, Calvin. I sit with it. All night, and in the morning I send one final email to Marcus. They broke the terms of the agreement. Contact them, end it. By month 11, I'm officially untouchable. Restraining order, legal notice. Any attempt to reach out equals contempt of court. Roy calls one last time, not to push, just to say this. Your mom's in hospice. Your dad still refuses to admit anything. He's telling everyone she's dying of heartbreak. That it's your fault. I thank him. Then I delete his number, too. 3 days later, I get a package at work. Security cam footage shows it was dropped off by a courier, no ID. Inside, a gold bracelet. One I made for my mom when I was 11. I'd beaded it by hand. Her name spelled in crooked little letters. She wore it once. Then shoved it in a drawer for over a decade. Attached is a note, scrawled in what I recognize instantly as her handwriting. I should have worn this more. You were always the better person. But we didn't know how to love anything we couldn't control. I'm sorry. No signature, just that. I don't cry, but I do close my office door. I hold the bracelet, and I let the weight of it all settle. The courtroom, the hacking, the threats, the silence, the rewriting, they took $4,600. They tried to destroy my reputation. They tried to break me, then guilt me into rebuilding them. And in the end, they died clutching the ruins of their own pride. I still keep the bracelet, not as a memento, as evidence. That I survived them, that I won. Today, I live alone in a town where no one knows my last name. I work in a job I love. My finances are secure. My passwords are mine. My peace is uninterrupted. And not once, not on her birthday, not on the day I saw the obituary did I feel guilt. Not even for a second. Because family isn't sacred if it's built on fear. And blood isn't thicker than betrayal. They thought I'd come back. They thought sickness would erase the theft. That time would dull the abuse. But I didn't come back, I moved forward, and I never looked back.